Hi, I'm Mike Scroggins, your Delaware County Sheriff. On this edition of the Sheriff Show, we're going to be over in Madison County attending the funeral for canines Kilo and Magnum. Kilo was killed in the line of duty while protecting his canine handler. They had been responding to an active shooter situation, and the suspect fired from a concealed location, hitting both Kilo and his handler. Kilo had to be put down by one of the other officers so they could render aid to the canine handler. A couple weeks later, canine Magnum was shot and killed by an armed bank robber. Magnum had been tracking the robber after a robbery over in Madison County, and Kilo did not make it through the gunfire and died in the line of duty. What I'd like you to do is, you're watching this video that Roger shot of the funerals, is remember that a canine has no fear and will give his life looking for a suspect, looking for a lost child or lost elderly adult, or in the line of duty searching out an armed individual or protecting the citizens and their handlers and fellow officers. And it happens day in and day out, and we need to be there to honor and lift up those canine officers just as we do human law enforcement officers, because without the assistance of canines, we wouldn't be able to provide the quality of law enforcement that we do. So in watching these scenes, try to put yourself in the officer's place. And when I say that, what you have to understand is, you know how close you are to your pets or pets you had when you were a child. Think about that, and then add this to it. You know, when you're assigned a canine, they're your pet, they're your child, if you will, they're your baby. You have to take care of them. An average canine costs $12,000. Most of the ones assigned to the sheriff's office are $14,000 to $15,000 dogs. And not only are you around that canine and your family around that canine in off-duty situations, every shift you go to work, your canine partner is with you, and it's you and him minimum of 8 hours a day together in that cruiser, out on patrol, besides being at home with him all the time, like I was talking about just a minute ago, as a pet. There's a connection there that, unless you're a fellow canine officer, all we can do is estimate and try to imagine. So the next time that you see a canine demonstration, or you see a canine and his partner at work, check with the officer and make sure that it's okay, but give that canine an extra pat on the head, and remember some of the things that I've said and you're going to see in the visual images shot by Roger. Thank you for your support. I'll talk to you soon.
My name is Mike Schwartz. It's my privilege to serve the Anderson Police Department as one of its chaplains. Thank you for coming today and for showing your support for Officers Marty Dilworth and Matt Jarrett, and to honor their fallen canine partners, Kilo and Magnum. When God created animals, He created such an amazing variety, whether they were tiny or enormous, aquatic, amphibious, airborne, or land animals. But He made one animal distinctly different from the rest. They are loyal, courageous, powerful, tenacious, obedient, affectionate, and playful. Humans have labeled these amazing animals man's best friend. Kilo and Magnum certainly excelled in each of these traits. They were hardworking, determined, and committed to giving their best to their handlers. Officer Marty Dilworth and Kilo and Officer Matt Jarrett and Magnum were members of a canine team that earned first place overall in the Canine Olympics for dual-purpose police canines. That is an international competition, so they proved that they were among the best of the best. They also placed third overall in the patrol team. Magnum was an outstanding ambassador for canine working dogs. Frequently giving demonstrations to schools and churches, Magnum showed the public how valuable canines are to law enforcement. He had the ability to switch from working canine to affectionate family member in just a moment. While giving a demonstration at a local church, Officer Jarrett was explaining how when a canine apprehends a suspect and makes that bite, it seems so vicious, but the dog is actually at play. As the demeanor of the audience began to change, he looked behind him only to see Magnum sitting very calmly while a little girl was petting him. Moments before, he had a suspect by the arm with a sleeve. Magnum was killed in the line of duty on August 20th during the apprehension of a suspected bank robber. Officer Marty Dilworth had given me ample warning one time when I wanted to ride out with him and his canine. The warning was simply this: you may want to have something on the back of your neck. Kilo barked with vicious enthusiasm, intimidating anyone who could see or hear him, and the dog spit on the windshield on the inside was proof of that. He definitely earned his nickname, Knucklehead, but Kilo proved his loyalty, his hard work, and his tenacity on the dark night of July 26th, this year of 2012. In search of an active shooter, Kilo took a round that would have been aimed at Officer Dilworth's chest. Kilo then laid his own body on a wounded Marty Dilworth, protecting him with his dying breath. Kilo and Magnum clearly lived up to John 15, verse 13. No one has greater love than this, that someone will lay down his life for his friend. Both Kilo and Magnum were hard-working canines that proved their exceptional quality and ability through international competition and on the street. After work, they proved their love and devotion as affectionate members of their family and are deeply missed. May we never forget to honor their loyalty, devotion, courage, and strength, giving their all in ultimate sacrifice. No greater love than to lay down your life for a friend.
Thank you so much for coming to share this event. like to share a few things with you. One of the marvelous things about a community is it enables us, welcomes us to help others in ways that we couldn't as individuals. When we pool our strength and share the work of responsibility, we can help many people, even those in deep distress, and perhaps help find them their own self-confidence and inner healing. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our life needs the most to us, we often find that it's those who, instead of giving advice, counsel, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. I want to read you a poem real quick. It's called "The Call to Give My All." I'm a deputy in a canine crew. I've been trained to see it through. When danger's near, my ears perk up. They taught me that as a little pup. I'm often there to protect your rights. My presence sometimes hinders fights. I never attack with thought to kill. When subduing one, my job I fill. I never worry a single thought as to how I'll fare at a certain spot. The love I have for a handler's care is all I need each day to fare. And if someday my luck turns bad, I'll relish all the joys that I've had. To be with men who stood for good, and a special kind of brotherhood. The stories end by now, you know, of how I've tried for a better show. I did my best, though I did fall. When I was called, I gave it my all. Lastly, as Chief of the Anderson Police Department, I'd like to thank our deceased and loyal colleagues, Kilo and Magnum, who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you, Officer Delaware and Officer Jarrett. I also wish to thank all canine police handlers and their dogs for simply being dogs, which is to say, tolerant, perseverant, willing to connect with a world that does not always return their affection, but proving time and time again that life, while messy, difficult, and imperfect, has the capacity to exceed our expectations and to feed our undying hope. Attention, Officer Dalworth, Officer Jarrett. Kilo and Magnum were your friends, your partners, your defenders, your dogs. You were their life, their love, their leader. They will always be yours, faithful and true. The very last beat of their heart, you owe it to them to be worthy of such a devotion.
Heroes. I looked up the definition of a hero, and it says a hero is an individual of distinguished character or ability admired for brave deeds and noble qualities. There were ancient heroes, Greek heroes in Greek tragedy that we celebrate, including Hercules and Achilles and Odysseus and others. Each one was legendary and the subject of stories and myth that have been preserved and enhanced throughout the ages. I'm a child of the 60s, and I grew up with television and television heroes like many of us. Batman was one of my heroes, not the current Batman, but the real Batman that said biff, boom, pow. You remember. He was a hero. All the guys from Emergency, Engine 51, Squad 51, Adam 12, Chips with Ponch and John. They were heroes. You have to mix in there the animal heroes as well, though. Lassie. Timmy never got stuck in that well, but Lassie didn't go and get help. He was always there. She was always there, depending on what episode you watched. Rin Tin Tin, and of course his faithful partner, Roy Rogers, Bullet. Each one of these heroes had several traits in common. Character and ability. They were smarter, they were wiser, they made each circumstance in life with unusual understanding and determination. Bravery and nobility. They didn't shrink or cower in the face of danger. They never asked to be rewarded. They were just doing their job. And then I met some real-life heroes. The men, women, and the canines of Anderson Police Department. Like the heroes of old, each one of these members of the police department possessed extraordinary character and ability, bravery, nobility, beyond what one might normally expect to find. Today, we especially want to recognize the heroic acts of two of these officers, Kilo Delworth and Magnum Jarrett. Each of these officers had extraordinary ability in their sense of smell, their ability to track people and illicit drugs, and in their training. And it was because of this extraordinary ability that they were selected and set aside to become part of the police department, to enter into careers that would set them apart from all other dogs, from all other animals. Their combined abilities led to the apprehension of dozens of suspects and the confiscation of thousands of dollars worth of illicit drugs and contraband. Kilo was the bigger of the two. He was strong and spirited and commonly referred to as knucklehead, as Mike mentioned. That was due to his outgoing attitude and 100-mile-an-hour drive. He was hardworking, and he loved getting both drugs and criminals off the street. In September of 2011, Kilo was part of the K-9 team that won first place overall in the K-9 Olympics in Peru, Indiana, for dual-purpose K-9s. While at home, though, with his family, Kilo was nothing more than a sweet, loving, faithful friend and family member. His bond with his handler, Officer Marty Dulworth, was like none other. Even to the very end, Kilo remained completely dedicated to service, protecting Officer Dulworth and the officers that were with him. In 2011, Magnum was also a part of the K-9 Olympic team that earned first place overall, dual-purpose team with members of the Anderson Police Department at that same Olympics. He placed third overall in the patrol team with members of APD K-9 unit at that same Olympics. Magnum worked K-9 demonstrations for many schools, churches, and other community organizations. He participated in drug searches that led to the arrest of several suspects, confiscated illegal drugs and money seizures. He located several suspects from tracks, from building searches, from area searches, including but not limited to burglary and robbery suspects. Although his searches, also through his searches and apprehensions, the police located several handguns and were able to remove those dangers from the street. These officers were both, Kilo and Magnum, extraordinary in their abilities. Chaplain Schwartz mentioned something written by a man named John who was a follower of Jesus. He said, "No one has greater love than this than to lay down one's life for one's friends." That verse, as applied to both Magnum and Kilo, attests to their character, their bravery, and their nobility. Both of these officers died in the line of duty while pursuing suspects that were armed, taking no thought of their own lives, but placing themselves between their handlers, other police officers, and the threat. Due to their valiant and heroic acts, both Kilo and Magnum will live on in our minds and our hearts, and our gratitude for them and their sacrifices will never end. At the same time as we would grieve any loss, we grieve the loss of these officers who were also friends and family members. As we grieve, we can be comforted by one another in the department and within our families and the community. And I believe, and the scriptures attest, that the source of that comfort is God himself. In the Hebrew scriptures, there was a man named David that cries out to God several times in times of distress. And in doing so, he finds comfort in the assurance that even in times of pain and misery, he finds God there. He says, "You do not sleep, you never slumber, your ears never turn away from me." Just a few of the confessions that he makes. There was also a follower of Jesus named Paul. He writes of God's comfort. He says, "God comforts us so that we in turn can comfort others." So Matt, Marty, that's my prayer for you and your families today, that you will know the comfort of God, so that someday, when someone else needs comfort, you'll be there to share from your own experience the comfort you receive.
You know, my first recollection of K-9, of dogs that work with the police department, go back several years to Charlie Hewlett and Billy Mullen, who were both our K-9 officers. And I think back into those years about what we really knew about the K-9 program, and those of us who used to go to the Wigwam to see our great, one of our three great high school teams in Anderson, Indiana, rooting for whoever they were against whoever they were playing. And I remember the police department at the time outside with their K-9 pickup trucks. And about all we knew about the K-9 program at that point happened to be a German Shepherd, and happened to be a dog that was barking, and it sounded like it really, really wanted to inflict harm on whoever might be walking by that truck. And there's been a real evolution, though, in how K-9s and police officers and police departments across this country, how they really work with the K-9 programs. Because now we've moved to a point where these dogs are recognized for what they really do. That they're a partner in what we do on a daily basis. They're no longer just the dog in the truck. They're also the dog in the churches. And they're a dog doing demonstrations also at the schools. and at our clubs and civic events across the city and across the county. So we develop names and personalities for these great animals that really work with us in a way that we need their help and their service. Now, it struck me when we began attending another church, it was Trinity Episcopal Church, I remember, that the Episcopal Church has an entire service that's dedicated to animals. And many of the Episcopal churches have an annual ceremony called Blessing of the Animals. I think a recognition of where we are at as a society and how we look at our maintenance and our partnerships with an entire kingdom of creatures on this earth. You'll find 3 biblical references right off the bat that talk about that. That God said everything, that God saw everything that He had made, and behold, it was very good. And the word everything in there includes canine. I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh.
Next, I'd like to introduce an Anderson Police Department Lieutenant John Branson.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant John Branson, and I was a trainer for the Anderson Police Department Canine Division. And I've been given the great privilege to speak today on behalf of our fallen canines, Officer Magnum and Kilo, on behalf of their partners, Officer Garrett and Delaware. It goes without saying that law enforcement is a very dangerous and often thankless job. Every day when an officer goes to work, there's always a risk that he may never come home. This sobering reminder is always in the back of an officer's mind, but those who have heard the calling and joined the ranks of law enforcement accept this possible fate, and in spite of it, put their lives on the line for the good of the people. Police officers often talk of the thin blue line. This phrase can be interpreted in many ways. But when I think of this image, I see on one side the great citizens of Madison County, and I see on the other side the forces of criminality and evil. In the middle of these two groups is the thin blue line of protectors, Officer Kilo and Magnum. With them were Officer Delworth and Jarrett. On the night of July 26, 2012, Officers Delworth and Kilo were called to assist the Pendleton Police Department in a very frightening firefight between officers and an armed suspect hell bent for destruction. This suspect had been firing on officers, severely wounding one, killing an innocent civilian. Officer Delworth went down. And Kilo stood by his side. As our brave officers moved over from harm's way, Kilo was shot. I'm sorry. Officer Kilo was a 4-year veteran of the Anderson Police Department and was an outstanding addition to our program. Delworth and Kilo led third shift activity, making more than 200 criminal arrests together. These two were a mirror image of each other. Together they were strong, smart, aggressive. Kilo will truly be missed. I told you I wasn't going to do that. On August 18, 2012, APD had another trying day. Officer Matt Jarrett and Officer Magnum were called to assist on bank robbery. The lone armed suspect fled from the scene, and Officer Jarrett and his canine partner Magnum tracked the suspect. Magnum was a great tracker. He located the non-compliant suspect in a wooded area. Magnum was sent to apprehend the suspect. The suspect opened fire, mortally wounding Magnum. Magnum, being the tough little pocket rocket he was, lived for 2 more days, but he couldn't hold on any longer. Had Magnum not confronted the suspect, there was a good chance other officers could have been injured or fired upon, as other officers were very close. K-9 Magnum and Officer Jarrett led second shift in activity, apprehending several criminals. Magnum will also truly be missed. Kilo and Magnum and their partners were the worst nightmare for criminals in Madison County. Apprehending countless felons, drug dealers, robber suspects. When I look at the lives and careers of Officers Kilo and Magnum, I see 2 outstanding officers with character, fierce loyalty, and faithful. But these 2 also had one advantage their human counterparts do not have. They knew no fear. They're heroes because in the face of danger with great threat of death, they displayed great courage, loyalty, and honor, though ultimately losing their lives. Kilo and Magnum are no longer present on this earth, but their undying spirit and devotion will continue to live on. It is this undying devotion that will inspire law enforcement officers to continue the fight between good and evil, to right injustices committed, and to strengthen their commitment to be better officers for the citizens of our communities. Doing all this while evil is lurking just around the corner, waiting for us to let our guards down for 1 second. It is impossible for me to describe the relationship and the bond formed between K-9 and handler. These K-9 officers trusted and depended upon their partners. They were trained officers and fighters at heart. But more importantly, they were best friends to their handlers, Jarrett and Delaware, and protected them until the day they took their last breath. Kilo and Magnum were noble police officers who served our communities and citizens well. I'm proud to have served these fine canine officers as well as their handlers, Delaware and Jarrett. Kilo and Magnum will be immortalized not just in name, but in our hearts forever. Both Kilo and Magnum died doing what they loved, catching the bad guys. As they look down upon us today, please remember, God who confers His gifts on all living things has often used the service of animals, or made them symbolic reminders of the gifts of salvation. We also must remember that the battle of good versus evil will continue on as we leave here today. Therefore, we must be ever vigilant to the arrogance of evil, which will inevitably rear its ugly head, and we must defeat it. Although sometimes we take a step backwards, good will always triumph over evil. And while we're here on earth, continue to honor and grieve for the loss of these 2 dogs we call officer, brother, protector, and friend. It gives me great comfort knowing that Kilo and Magnum now have become angels in blue.
Next, I'd like to introduce Delaware County Sheriff's Department.
Before I ask you any questions, before you make any statements, I must give you your canine Miranda. Number 1, you have the right to remain motionless, or you may elect to run away from me. Number 2, should you decide to run, I shall direct my canine to chase you to the end of the world. Number 3, you have the right to have your lawyer run with you. Should you refuse, a recent law school graduate will be appointed by the court to job along with you. Number 4, if while running you suddenly decide to end the race, Be aware that my canine may or may not understand your intentions and may continue to pursue with full stride. Number 5, you may stop running at any time at your own risk. Number 6, good luck. Some of my comments today, the general public may not understand. The men and women in canine uniforms will completely understand the comments today. Most people in this room have never had the honor and privilege of handling a canine. Most have not been at work. They get called to assist another agency responding to shots fired. Arriving at the call, grabbing your partner, who you've spent more time with than your entire family. Place your partner in a long line. You got to be ready to go to work. You and your partner alerts to the suspect. You're shot twice, AK-47. You lay there at the side of the sidewalk. Your partner's hit. He lays on top of you and says, "Dad, I don't feel good, but I'm not leaving your side." Most have not also handled a dog off duty, being called by dispatch, saying that we need your assistance. You respond without hesitation, as you had for 12 years. You're responding to a bank robbery. Suspect has a gun. You start your partner on the track. He locates the suspect as he's trained to do. You send your partner up for the apprehension, probably saving your life. Your partner stays alive as you give him chest compressions to the hospital, and eventually he pays the ultimate sacrifice. Marty and Matt, I'm up here today speaking to you for the other canine handlers. As you know, we got a special honor. We've had many conversations about the scenario that you guys were in. But I want to talk about some other scenarios that you guys have been in, besides the two that you guys were involved in. Matt was promoted to canine in 2002. And he's never looked back. And we want to reflect on some of his fondest memories. Maybe. One in particular memory that we had, we bring these stories up all the time, was Officer Jarrett tracking a certain wife suspect into a wooded area. He eventually locates that canine officer's wife hiding in the woods with a bite sleeve. The canine goes to apprehend that wife, misses the bite sleeve, and bites that particular wife in a certain area where most women do not want to get bit. But she's okay. Another one of our favorite Matt Jarrett stories is Matt being involved in a vehicle pursuit. Matt being Matt gets in the chase. Suspect runs from a vehicle. Matt runs from his vehicle. Matt forgets his canine. He has to call back to his buddy who's riding in the car, who's not a police officer, not a handler. "Farba, get my dog!" Farba gets his dog. That catches the suspect. Another moment that I want to speak about, we want to speak about as handlers. We can't all remember all your bites, Matt. You and Magnum, you had them so fast. They all blended together. From tattooing the guy, your first suspect, in the face, to getting your last apprehension of the bank robbery suspect, getting number 20. But one of my fondest memories personally is you calling me one day and to hear your voice magnified in the dope, in the attic, and how proud you were about finding the cocaine in the gut. It wasn't a bite, it was like he's trying to do. That's one of my favorite memories of speaking to you about Magnum. Matt, we're so proud of what you've accomplished, what you and Magnum accomplished in your short career, and the actions that you guys displayed that day. These have been some serious tough days, and I'm extremely honored to have been chosen to assist you in training with your next partner. And I know soon that you guys are going to be dominating the streets. Marty. In 2008, 2009, the K-9 community was flipped completely upside down with the promotions of Marty, Brett Wright, and Lieutenant John Branson. With these guys in K-9 school or in K-9 training, you never knew what was going to happen, what was going to be said, or who was going to go home early that day because of all the trash talk. I tried to reflect back on Marty's K-9 school. I was the instructor that gave him the K-9 school. And I tried to think of something that maybe I taught him. But as handlers know, you don't teach Marty. Marty teaches you. So I didn't teach him. We reflected again on some of Kilo's memories back in the day. And one particular one that we can't get our minds off of is a couple years ago in a K-9 recertification in Delaware County. The scenario was a burglary in progress, and there was an attic access in the garage. Now Marty had sprained his ankle that week, prior to the school. And I'm not going to repeat the story that Marty gave us on how he injured himself. But if anybody knows Marty, you can come up with a good idea. Well, Marty had to pick up Kilo and carry him up the ladder, place Kilo in the attic to apprehend the suspect. Well, after a broken ladder, several cuss words, and Kilo letting Marty know he was the alpha male, Marty decided to decline that detail. However, Marty being Marty, 2 days later completed a grueling obstacle course that we ended school with, and he still beat with one leg his lieutenant and K-9 commander in time. But one of the favorite and probably will never be top stories, and most people probably don't believe us when we tell the story. And I wish that Marty could come up here and tell the story because he's so graphic about this. Marty was completing a residential search with Kilo. He was at the top of the stairs and announced that he would be searching the K-9. He sent Kilo downstairs. He then heard somebody saying, "Hey, doggy." "Pretty little doggy." And then a complete nuclear bomb went off downstairs. And Kilo welcomed this guy to Madison County PD style. Marty and Matt, a great way to honor these K-9s. I'd have grabbed another partner, charge on him. Matt, or Hollywood, you're already in the process of honoring Magnum by looking for another partner. And soon we'll be certifying with another partner. Marty, K-9 handlers were pretty selfish. And we're not ready to get rid of you. We miss you at 3 o'clock in the morning. Phone calls telling us how we don't belong in the same category as you handlers. Let me quote. The A-team's here. Move out of the way, B-team. The A-team's here. And you have given the single-purpose handlers a nickname that I cannot repeat today, nor in this building. And that nickname will never go away. And if anybody would like to know what that nickname is, speak to any of these gentlemen, men and women over here. I'll tell you what that is. Marty, us handlers, we know you're going to be back. But if you're unable to come back due to injury, or you want Kilo to be your last partner, we understand. Marty, Kilo, Matt, and Magnum, everyone here is so proud of you and the heroic efforts you put forth that day. Thank you.
What you're getting ready to see now is one of the 10-year plus members of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office that's heading into retirement. And that's Condor, canine assigned to Deputy Scott Brand. Condor has been involved in over 1,000 investigations and arrests and vehicle searches. Condor is one of the dogs that we refer to as approachable. He's friendly. You can come up and play with him. He loves to play with a tennis ball. He loves to play tug of war. You wouldn't know it other than the gray beard that he has now, showing the years of experience and that he's ready for retirement. But he's still active, and as the video will show, he got to enjoy not only the treats that were bought for him and a new tennis ball, but he enjoyed some icing from the cake. And I started that. I didn't check with his dad to see if that was okay, but I felt like that he'd earned it from the 10 years that he'd given to the citizens of Delaware County and the Sheriff's Office. But congratulations, Condor. Congratulations, Scott. And you'll also get to see some video here real soon of Phoenix. He's our newest addition to the Canine Division, taking Condor's position. Not taking his place. That place will never be filled. Condor will always have a place with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. But there'll be more to come on Phoenix and more to come on the Canine Division. So sit back and enjoy Canine Condor's retirement party.
Everybody's here to see you. Everybody's here to see you.
Sorry, Mom. Condor's a Belgian Tavern. He came from Holland. We've had him about 11 years. Has 14 actual canine apprehensions. Probably right around 1,000, a little bit over that, 1,000 arrests with the department. He's been a real good dog, and it's going to be hard to go to work without him.
One last bite on Rockford.
Everybody's saying you should take it.
You're getting a well-deserved break. You're getting a well-deserved break. Scott, I know this is a bittersweet moment for you, but you and Condor have been a huge asset to the Sheriff's Office in the 11 years that you guys have been partners. Condor continued on with other handlers. One of the handlers, Brian, was here when you got deployed to the military and kept him going, and then you come back and took over with him. And I know you'll continue on with your new partner and the new assignment that you're going to have with the bomb dog. But congratulations, and I'm really proud of you and Condor both, and I hope that you bring him around and let him hang out in the squadron with us, play ball, and bring him up to the Sheriff's Office to see everybody. Thanks is too small of a word for what you and Condor have done for the Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Delaware County. It's an honor to keep you two together, and I'll be issuing a letter that'll put you two together for the remainder of Condor's life, and be with you and your family to live out his days in retirement. You have to figure out a way to keep him entertained, because I know how well he likes to do his job. But I look forward to what you're going to be able to do with your new partner and your new endeavor, working with the bomb squad, with the bomb dog, and the department going up to having 2 bomb dogs. So I just want to tell you how proud I am, and thank you very much for your commitment.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Condor. Fixed on Brian. Like I said earlier, he's 13 years old now. He's been with the department right at 11 years. He was the second dog I had. The first dog I had for right at about a year. And then I got Condor. He came from Pond Lake Falls. He's been an awesome dog. Real social. We use him for all the canine demos with the school kids. He's had 14 street bites or apprehensions, not counting the 3 policemen that got in the way. He's had over, 1,000 assisted arrests with the department. He's been a real good dog, and it's going to be real tough to leave him at home during the day. But I know he'll be watching the house when we're at work.
Attention all Delaware County units, Cameron and dispatch. All Delaware County units, the Sheriff's Office would like to thank K9 Condor for his 11 years of service and dedication. Enjoy your retirement. K9 2, 1042.
Now you don't have to worry
All
about
Delaware
people
County
complaining.
units, we would like to mark K9 Phoenix 1041.
Sound off, Condor.
Yeah.
Phoenix is a 2-year-old Malinois. He came from Holland. He's going to be one of our new bomb dogs for the department. Really don't know a whole lot about him yet. We just got him 2 days ago, but he has had training with the Special Forces. He's real good in gunfire, stays right by the handler, doesn't try to bite the handler, and that's going to be a big plus for us. So I look forward to getting to train with him, getting him out on the street.
So he'll be working with the bomb squad then.
Right, and he's a dual-purpose dog. He can track, he can apprehend criminals, and he also searches for bombs.
With the addition of the new dog that will be assigned to Deputy Brand, Phoenix, that puts the capabilities of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office bomb squad up to 2 canines now. It gives us the ability to handle either 2 incidents at the same time, or it gives us the ability to search large areas having 2 dogs. So we're looking forward to getting started with the 2nd canine and expanding our capabilities in the bomb squad area of the Sheriff's Office. Well, I hope that the first part of the video was informational and you understand the commitment we have to the canines as well as their commitment to us. And we wrap that up with showing you how we treat the retirement of a canine here at the Sheriff's Office. And I hope you can reconcile that yourself and understand that the dogs aren't tools to us. They aren't law enforcement equipment. They're law enforcement officers. They're our law enforcement brethren, and we'll do anything for them as well as they'll do anything for us. So until next time, this is Mike Scroggins, your Delaware County Sheriff. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.
We would like to thank the following underwriters for their support in producing this show. Put your business up for everyone to see. Hometown Outdoor Advertising, 765-288-9000. Bill Gaddis Chrysler, 1717 North Wheeling Avenue, the corner of Wheeling and Centennial. Dr. Janine M. Green, Royal Family Dentistry, 1804 West Royal Drive, 289-1578. McGalliard Guns and More, 800 West McGalliard, Muncie, Indiana. 288-GUNS, your one-stop gun shop. Reliable Bail Bonds, corner of Washington and North Walnut Street, Muncie, Indiana. 282-4787. Millennium Motors, 1001 East 29th Street, Muncie, Indiana. 282-2095. McDougal Family Fun Park, 2921 East Jackson, Muncie, Indiana. Go-karts, bumper boats, putt-putt, batting cages, something for everyone. 747-2893. Cardinal Laundry, 601 East Weiser Street, 744-2893. Big Daddy's Guns and More, Highway 1 south of 38 in Hagerstown, 530-8060. Northwest Towing and Recovery, Muncie location, 2900 North MLK, 288-4456. Anderson location, 1625 East 60th, 643-3333. Bob Lambert's Auto Body, 2801 North MLK, 289-0619. Taylor Sales, 2310 North MLK, Muncie, Indiana, 286-5010. Sam Pierce Chevrolet. The best Chevy deals are in the country. Located on State Road 67 between Muncie and Daleville.